Putnam is a very tiny county, but we still have people affected by storms like this, and that's what we're seeing. You see the forward velocity, the velocity going away from the radar and toward the radar. So we're seeing it toward the radar, away from it, and that's the spin, Brian, we're seeing right there in that little southwest corner of Putnam County.
Yeah, that's right. It's a storm that has shown some signs of rotation with it here within the last about 10, 15 minutes or so, but this rotation strengthening enough. Again, it's just to the east of Henry. It's crossing again into Putnam County now. This probably should be a relatively short-lived warning, especially for the 25 News viewing area. Once we cross over into LaSalle County, that's technically outside of our area here. But we'll take a quick look and we'll time this out for you. The storm has moved quickly, and a lot of these storms today will continue to move quickly. They're going to be about 40 to 45, maybe even 50 miles an hour. So we'll put back our reflectivity here. And again, there's your warning, which is just for the moment Putnam County. If you are in eastern or western LaSalle County, again, technically outside of our viewing area, we do have a couple folks who can get our signal there. Or if you know people in these areas, just let them know that this storm is something we're watching and it is potentially coming your way. So here's the track. To the northeast at about 45 miles an hour. Current time is 4:45. And here's what we're looking at here. Actually, Chuck, this is observed now, looks like. There's an update from the Weather Service. So this is on the ground. There's an update from National Weather Service up in the Quad Cities. This is a confirmed tornado in Putnam County. Again, the times with this, McNabb, about 5 minutes. So if you're in McNabb or really anywhere in eastern Putnam County, immediately head to your safe place. That's the lowest level of the building that you're in, ideally underground if you have access to a basement or a storm shelter. If you don't, you want to be on ground level in an interior room, a closet, a bathroom, a hallway. Basically just want to put as many layers between yourself and the outside weather as you can. And this is a confirmed tornado in Putnam County, moving northeast at about 40 to 45 miles an hour. And this will cross over into western parts of LaSalle County, probably within the next, about maybe 15 minutes or so, if not even shorter, about 5:15 or so. So we're continuing to keep a close eye on this, Chuck, but certainly big updates there on Putnam County.
Yeah, and we thought this would happen because we thought areas to the north would be prone for the possibility of isolated severe weather. This is an isolated cell right now. We have other cells going on, but this is a very isolated cell, and we've seen the rotation and a confirmed touchdown of that tornado. We're talking, that's a Route 18 and 26 in the Henry area as you go northeast of there, just to the east of 26, and then you're headed toward McNabb. That's what we're seeing. Magnolia is on the Route 18 corridor on the southeastern fringe of it. So this is the area we're most concerned about. Now, granted, it's a lot of rural area, but there are, farmsteads, homesteads, and people living in those areas. But this is the area under the tornado warning, so make sure you take cover as far as the southeastern corner, especially of Putnam County. Putnam County is a very small county, but it can get tornadoes in those isolated areas, and that's what we're seeing. And this is what we thought might happen here this afternoon as things kind of blossomed up in the atmosphere. And we've been going all day long with what we call a conditional threat. If everything came into fruition, we would see an isolated storm, and it could be severe. And here's a look at our shear tracks, and we're seeing some coming up the Illinois River Valley from Chillicothe to Henry to Lakin, and that shear, which is just changing wind direction and height in the atmosphere, kind of turning into a corkscrew. That's what we're seeing, and that's where the shear layer has been coming from. So it's coming up into Putnam County there, especially east of Route 26 and to the north and northwest of Route 18. That area right there is what we're watching the most, Brian.
Yeah, and this is a storm system, again, continues to move northeast. We do have other storms in the area as well. None of them at the moment are severe, which is good news. So we'll continue to keep a close eye on this. But this is a low top supercell. We have just enough instability out there today, but as advertised, we have plenty of wind shear. And as Chuck mentioned, it's that combination of shear, instability that's giving us a little bit of rotation. A lot of these cells, say, if you've been looking at radar here in our newscast, have kind of had that kidney bean shape. They're very small. They're not maybe exactly your textbook supercell you might think of, say, in the spring or the summertime in our peak severe weather season. But the structure is still certainly there. The atmosphere is certainly conducive enough for this tornadic activity. Again, we're still not expecting widespread severe weather, which is good news. But we do have this isolated threat, and at the moment, again, our one thunderstorm producing a tornado. Again, National Weather Service spotters confirming this is on the ground. Initially, it was near Henry. You can kind of see the rotation now about halfway between Henry and McNabb. Do want to note, too, radar images come in every about 3 to 5 minutes or so. So what you're looking at might be a couple minutes old. And also, if you're watching this either on Facebook or online or streaming, there's a bit of a delay, maybe by a minute or two as well. So it's really goes to show you the preparation that we really want you to take. If you're northeast of the storm, McNabb is in the immediate area northeast of this. But if you head into, say, the I-39 corridor in west central LaSalle County, eventually maybe even up to LaSalle, Peru, we'll kind of see how far northeast this is going to go and if this can hold together. We want you to take your precautions with this storm. Again, we'll wait for the latest image here. It should be any minute to come in, but I wouldn't be surprised if you see that couplet, that red-green couplet, which right now is just southwest of McNabb. That will probably be, if not on top of it, just on your doorstep. And that's why we're really going to stress the McNabb area, right along Route 89 there, north of Magnolia in eastern Putnam County. That is the immediate area of concern with a confirmed tornado on the ground. And Chuck, we're continuing to see if there's any more updates here from the Weather Service. They did cancel the warning in Marshall County. That was just a severe thunderstorm warning. So now the focus continues to be on Putnam County. The warning itself, the severe thunderstorm warning doesn't send to Bureau County, but Putnam County, our big focus. Chuck, latest image here coming in. Still a couplet, maybe slightly weaker. And we'll take a look at this is the reflectivity, and it looks like the update here is maybe the tornado has lifted. So that's some good news, Chuck, it looks like.
Right. Yeah, and this is probably the area where the lifting is occurring, because you can see that little notch there, that little kidney bean, just right outside McNabb, and that's what we're dealing with. So McNabb, make sure you're in your safe place, because we've had a history of a tornado touching down here, and we see the kidney bean shaped, and that's where the notch is that we're watching. This came out of just to the northeast of Henry, started rotating there, and started going into Putnam County. Thus, that's the reason why we have the tornado warning for eastern Putnam County going on right now. And it looks like McNabb is the main area that will be affected. And there's a lot of rural areas here, County Road 500, etc. But here's the area we're watching just to the south of McNabb. And you can see the Doppler velocity. This is going away and toward the radar. So we're going away from the radar here, toward the radar here. Well, I guess this might be the Quad Cities radar.
Xilex.
Is it still Lincoln? Okay, yeah. So we're going away from Lincoln, coming toward Lincoln, and that's the wraparound we're getting right there. So that's the Lincoln radar, and you can see McNabb, and you can see some pretty good wind fields off to the east going into LaSalle County as well, east of 89, but north of 18 and to the west of 89. This is the area we're most concerned about. It's flattened out a little bit, which would indicate there's maybe not as much rotation as there was, but it popped up pretty quick, and it was it was a low topped, but it still picked up on the radar.
Here's the Quad Cities.
Yeah.
So that looks a little stronger. This is the radar that's actually closer to Putnam County. This is northwest of us in the Quad Cities, and most of our area in the Lincoln forecast area from National Weather Service, but Putnam County, Bureau County in the Quad Cities. LaSalle's actually in Chicago, so we'll keep an eye with the folks up in Chicago as well to see if this does get extended into LaSalle County. But at the moment, again, we're still watching that rotation. McNabb, as we said quite a few times, that's the area of focus. We'll put on our shear. We showed this once already. And what the shear product is basically a more instantaneous and kind of a cleaned up image of that velocity that you just saw. There's all the reds and greens. Sometimes it's easy to see the shear detector, which good news, there's not really a whole lot on there. If we track this over time, you do see the rotation as it extended back toward Lakin. We were watching it around then. There were some signs of some spin with this thunderstorm, but as it got toward Henry, that rotation really picked up. You kind of see the widening of the shear track, as well as even a little pocket of some of that bright blue just to the south of Henry. And then the tornado did touch down around Henry, and that's what triggered that tornado warning. Right now, still watching the warning itself. This goes until, I believe, 5:15. We'll query that real quick here, and we'll take a look at that. I believe it's 5:15. Yeah, the tornado warning. So 15 minutes to go, but I wouldn't be surprised at the way this is moving, Chuck. It looks like we're making progress here, kind of getting out of the county already, or at least right on the edge. And this storm would then move we'd be looking at LaSalle County.
Right, exactly.
We'll clear this here, and we'll move that site for you here. So there's what's left of the storm. Again, we talked about McNabb. It's kind of east of it. Chuck, what are you looking at here?
Yeah, it looks like most of the reflectivity, the high reflectivity, is moving east of 89 now to the east of McNabb. But you see the back edge of that tornado-warned area, then the eastern edge there. So that's right on the LaSalle County line there, and that's what we're looking at. So still, McNabb, stay in your safe place, and areas in this area, especially as you go a little bit farther east of McNabb there, Eden, Hope, some very small places there, but still stay in your safe zone. We're still getting the reds and greens bumping up against each other here, so there is still a little bit of a spin going on there. And we did have the touchdown just outside of Henry, right in this little corner of Putnam County, coming out of Marshall into toward McNabb. But it looks like the heaviest of the activity now moving east of 89 into rural areas toward I-39, and we'll see if this gets extended. But this is a tornado-warned area from basically Granville through McNabb and Magnolia, all up the 89 corridor and the 71 corridor. That goes until 5:15, so we have another 15 minutes, almost 20 minutes, but probably won't go the distance. I would say this thing will probably be taken out of commission here pretty soon, but then we get into LaSalle County, and we still see some high reflectivity here, some heavy rain, and you can see the area is just in the northern tip of that warned area between 71 and 89, so that's what we're seeing as it moves off to the northeast at about 40. So I think Putnam County may be in the clear in the next 5 minutes, but stay in your safe place, or especially around McNabb as far as that goes, just to make sure you're in your safe place until the all clear is given. But it looks like it'll be in LaSalle County next. If it extends into LaSalle County, right now we're not seeing that tight rotation like we did when it first came up around Henry, Brian.
Yeah, no news from the Weather Service. We're waiting to see if they do extend that warning east or not. They did confirm there was a report of a brief touchdown in an open field, and that was 2 miles south of Henry. That's what triggered this warning. The storm also producing about 3/4 inch diameter hail at the largest, at least that we've seen so far. This storm did produce, again, some gusty winds, some heavy rain. The main concern, of course, obviously, was the threat there for the tornado. And again, no update here, but the storm itself, again, continues to look like it's east of the warned areas. But if you are in LaSalle County, know some people there, especially along the I-39 corridor, maybe south of LaSalle, Peru, maybe just south of Oglesby as well, north of Hope there. This is where the storm is going. Not quite showing the robust rotation that it had earlier. There was a pretty good couplet on this for a couple of those radar scans. But I do want to take a look here. The Chicago radar, this is one of the closer ones to LaSalle County. The issue that we have with where LaSalle County is relative to the other radar sites, it's a little bit farther away. That means the radar beam, as it goes out, also goes up. So you lose the ability to survey the lower part of the storm where this rotation is, or at least where it's the strongest. So there is still maybe at least some broad rotation in western, really west central LaSalle. You see that red-green couplet still there, but it's not quite as strong. But we do have to keep in mind, checking it. This is kind of looking up, and but it is pushing east. Again, this storm is working its way out of the tornado-warned area. That's good news for folks in Putnam County. We'll take a peek again here. Let's go to the Quad Cities radar, and for the most part, that storm is out of the polygon, it looks like.
Yeah. Let's come down to Metro Peoria. I know we have a couple of thunderstorms around Metro Peoria, including here at the station, but these aren't severe. They're individual cells, but there's some lightning and thunder going on. So we have these individual discrete cells that could produce some localized severe weather like we're seeing in Putnam County with that tornado warning. But we don't have any warned areas around Peoria, but we do have a pretty good complex going through the Metro Peoria, Pekin, East Peoria area right now with some lightning and thunder. You can see by the radar, they're kind of spread out. There's nothing really tight here that would indicate any rotation, just some thunderstorms. But we'll keep you posted on that. There's some north of Peoria and the Heights and toward Chillicothe, but you can see how everything is kind of spread out a little bit. We're not really too tight here on the radar, and these things are moving off to the northeast at about 40, 45 miles an hour. But there's the tornado-warned area we continue to watch in Putnam County, although I think most of the activity with that tornado that touched down just to the south of Henry that spawned this warning is probably in LaSalle County by now. And I would imagine the Weather Service and the Quad Cities may take that warning off pretty soon. We've got some pretty intense cells in northern portions of Marshall County, just to the west of Henry there. And once again, that might tighten up a little bit, but that's part of a severe thunderstorm warning that's still in effect going up into Putnam County. So that is covered, nearly covered by a warned area as that moves up Route 29 north of Henry there. But once again, there's the tornado warned area for Putnam County. We'll see what the Weather Service in the Quad Cities does with that. But
yeah, still nothing. They did
down.
a couple of storm reports to pass along. These coming from Lincoln, that there was a 63-mile-an-hour gust in Lincoln as that storm moved through. There's also a lot of scud with these storms, which might look like a funnel cloud or a tornado. There is a difference between the two. Scud is when you get the rising air and it cools pretty quickly. It looks kind of nasty. It's one of those SLC, those scary-looking clouds. So there's a lot of scud within our storms. But in terms of rotation, in terms of the actual tornado threats, I think it's reduced right now. Again, we're still, we'll stay on air here. I mean, we are in our newscast, but we also do want to stay, at least in terms of weather coverage, until we get the all clear from the folks up in the Quad Cities. Really no official update from them yet. There's a couple of the warnings they've canceled across the area, but we're still of our Putnam County warning, and even though that storm is out of here, we just want to look at some of the other ones, Chuck, here, just to maybe see. There's nothing really, none of these kind of scream rotation. And we'll take a look. We'll start, I guess, north to south.
Right, yeah, and this one right here, if the velocity, there's probably some strong winds in there. You see the bright reds there north of Route 17, and that was a severe thunderstorm warned storm earlier, but that has moved off to the north. So we'll be watching this area north of 17 in Marshall County, headed toward Bureau County, and then we've had a couple of showers and thunderstorm complexes around Metro Peoria. But they haven't appeared to be severe, just almost garden variety thunderstorms that have popped up, but we'll keep an eye on those. They're a little bit loud, and there'll be some downpours out there and maybe a little hail. But we had 0.8 of an inch hail reported in Brimfield earlier in some of these storms. And we've got some winds right here.
Looks like we're good with the warning. That's canceled.
Okay, so the Putnam County tornado warning has been canceled, but we have a new severe thunderstorm warning, it looks like, that covers Metro Peoria. And this goes from Glassford right up the 24 corridor into Peoria. So that's Fulton, Peoria, Tazewell until 5:30. And this covers all of Metro Peoria. So, yeah, that's what we're looking at as well. And we're looking at that basically moving northeast at about probably 45 miles an hour.
Quarter-size hail is the main concern.
So we're talking Glassford, Hannah City, Pekin, Peoria, East Peoria. Morton is in it. Washington's right on the edge. So this is a severe thunderstorm warning in effect until 5:30 for Peoria, Woodford, and Tazewell, or rather Peoria, Tazewell, and Fulton, at least parts of these counties. And we're seeing the possibility of some big hail in some of these, and also some gusty winds out there as well. So this looks like to be what we call a level 1 severe thunderstorm warning. There are 3 levels, one calling for 60-mile-an-hour winds, 70-mile-an-hour winds, 80-mile-an-hour winds. This looks like the minimum as far as severe thunderstorm warnings are concerned. Hail detector, we're not seeing too much hail yet. There's about a half-inch hail at the, looks like the 9 and 24 corridor as you go there into Fulton County across the river from Tazewell to the southwest of Glassford. So that's, some pretty good size hail and the potential for some gusty winds as it moves on through these areas. And as far as the cities are concerned, we're talking Glassford just about right now, Hollis Township in a few minutes, Bartonville at about 5:15. That includes the airport. And the city of Peoria at about 5:23, so you've got a few minutes yet. Peoria Heights at 5:29, Germantown Hills at 5:35, Metamora 5:42, Cazenovia 5:49, 5:57, if that holds together and gets into Woodford County. So that's what we're seeing as far as that severe thunderstorm warning is concerned for Metro Peoria especially. So, go to your inside. Make sure you're inside. You don't want to be outside in this situation because we've had lightning as well. So when thunder roars, go indoors, and that's what we tell everybody. The best place to be in a thunderstorm is inside, Brian.
Yeah, and we'll just continue to watch this one. Again, it's moving northeast about 40 miles an hour or so. As we've talked about, these are all fast movers today. The very strong wind shear. We've been gusty throughout the whole day today. So if even outside of these thunderstorms, even if you've seen sunshine at times today, you've probably noticed some of the strong winds. But as Chuck talked about, again, this is our 1 severe thunderstorm warning We're still keeping a close eye on this as it's not quite parallel in the Illinois River, but it's moving in that general direction. Peoria is included in this thunderstorm warning, about 15, 20 minutes or so. There is one little cell ahead of it. The actual severe cell in this polygon is the southern one. So Peoria at the moment is seeing some rain, a little bit of lightning, possibly some thunder and some gusty winds. But in terms of the severe portion, it's closer to Glassford with this. And at the moment, no signs of rotation with this storm. That's good news. This is mostly just a hail maker. We're able to get those clouds up and into some of the cold air that's above us. That's allowing for some hail to form. It's kind of lowering the hail level, the freezing level a little bit, which is why we are seeing hail upward of half an inch to an inch in diameter with some of these thunderstorms. Non-severe thunderstorm is north of this. This is around Chillicothe to Princeville, areas south, not quite to Spring Bay. Maybe Dunlap included in that, maybe just on the southern edge of that one storm. And we still do have another severe thunderstorm warning. We're watching the same area where we had the initial tornado warning, that is Putnam County. Maybe some marginally severe hail pushing upward of about 3/4 of an inch diameter to maybe 1 inch in diameter. That warning in Putnam County and extreme southeastern Bureau County, that's lasting for about another about 10 minutes or so, about 5:15 is that warning. But the main focus, again, at least where we're at now in terms of severe weather threat, is our storm that is moving through Glassford. It'll move up through maybe around 24 along the Illinois River toward Peoria, central and eastern parts of Peoria County, and extreme northern and northwestern parts of Tazewell County would be impacted by this storm. If you're in Canton, you're right on the edge of the polygon. This storm is east of you. If you're in northeastern Fulton County, east of Canton, maybe just give this a couple more minutes and you'll be in the clear. The storm, as it continues to lift northeast, so we'll be able to trim that polygon and cancel out some of that warning from the southwest to the northeast. But in the immediate concern here, again, the Glassford area and approaching, say, eventually Mapleton, we're talking Bartonville and Peoria in the next maybe 10, 15, 20 minutes or so, looking at hail upward of about 1 inch in diameter, and we are looking at some heavy rainfall as well. Update here from folks up in Putnam County. At least a little bit of good news with that tornado. They're saying that they've not had any damage. Again, we did that confirmed tornado with the warning. But Chuck, a good update here from Putnam County Sheriff. No damage in the tornado warning area earlier.
Okay, we continue to watch the severe thunderstorm warning in effect for parts of Peoria and Fulton and Tazewell counties until 5:30.